Hey folks, I've got a super simple and fun sewing quilting project for all of us today, especially those pet lovers out there. Are you ready? Let's get stitching. Well, welcome back everybody to another awesome tutorial here at Stitchin Heaven. I'm your quilt maker, Rob Appell. Super blessed to see all of you out there. And it's kind of interesting. I feel like it's nice to be just us a little bit. We've had so many guest teachers lately. It's been awesome. And of course, we're just really enjoying spreading the love and the community out there. And speaking of love and community, for those of you who are not following along on our awesome dog park block of the month, I have a confession to make. I am a pet lover. And you know what? I think most quilt makers, sewers really truly are. So today we're making pet beds, folks. And this is a great way for us to practice for those who are a little less particular. Meaning that these are some squares. Golly, there's so many things I want to teach today. These are some squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, that were left over from my Scrap Masters project. They were actually pre-leftovers. These were ones I was testing and decided I didn't like. I've learned so many things in the Scrap Masters, the random quilt block generator, where we roll and spin our way each week on Fridays to a new quilt square. And these were the ones I found out early on that I needed to control my palette. So again, like we always learn something. And if you're not watching our block of the month series, Dog Park, this is an incredible project designed by McKenna Ryan. At Stitchin Heaven, we have tons and tons and tons and tons of awesome block of the months. Again, another great way for us all to be learning. And we have Facebook groups, places to be in our community. So I just wanted to share that a little bit. Thought you might enjoy seeing this beautiful applique project up on the wall, learning some 3D things and whatnot. But today I want to dive right into a fairly simple project like I promised. And so I did a little bit of the prep sewing. I took all 4 squares and I stitched them together with my 1/4 inch seam allowance, but keeping in mind, I want this to be a washable project. So I want all my seams to be nice and secure because we want our pets to be able to lie on this, but we want to be able to put it in the bed. Put it in the wash. Now, my pets are fairly small. My cat's even larger than my dog, and I shouldn't admit that here publicly, but I did. So at any rate, I have a 24-inch square right now that I'm going to make as the top. This unit, this piece right here, if you are new to free motion quilting and you want to practice, this would be a fantastic place with all of these different pieces and patchworks for you to put a piece of batting and a piece of backing on this. And especially if you're a cat lover, because you know how your cats love being on your quilts, right? And then take the time, even on your domestic, to free motion, practice some of your personal free motion quilting here on this quilt top, so to speak, right? You've been building your patchwork squares, of course. One of the ideas I had is I was thinking about maybe installing some zippers. I have a lot of zipper by the yard, but I wanted to keep today's project fairly simple. But anything you can think of that you want to practice in your sewing room, your pets will really enjoy. So I've now prepared, again, a 24-inch square of my backing. The backing I'm using are scraps, my leftovers, because I have 108s from the fabric I've designed to go with the new and newer Worlds fabrics. It's the Glow Dot, comes in this blue and it comes in orange, and I love it. So I took this piece here, and you know, a lot of times I teach at workshops, at classes all around, and we don't always have a lot of space. So one of my tricks is if I only have a small space and I'm trying to make a big cut, and my ruler, of course, I'll always try to use as much of the ruler as possible along the cuts I've made to make sure that I'm staying as straight as possible. Then I can also always take and start a cut off of the short edge, and then without moving the blade, I can rotate my cutter, and or by using that long straight edge, I can also rotate, my ruler into position, and I can still get a fairly decent, in this case, 24-inch square, even working in what was a perceived smaller space. So I think that's a pretty cool trick. Just using our techniques, and of course it would have been easy to measure across my 36 on my mat, but I kind of grew up as a quilter using my ruler for my numbers, not my mat. I don't know if that helps with accuracy or not. Nonetheless, let's get into this tutorial, huh? Now, because I've been making quilts for so many years, I also have, and you hear me talk about it, I'm always throwing things down here in my dog bed or my pet bed bin. So today we're going to use all of that as filler inside of this giant pillow we're basically making. So now I would normally want to go right sides together and then just go around most of this, leaving an opening so we can stuff our stuff inside, our stuffing. And that's what we're going to do. However, because of all the patchwork in here, I think it might be easiest if we pre-fold one of our edges here. So I'm going to take and pre-fold one of my edges over roughly 1/2 of an inch. And I'm going to put it there under my 1/4 inch edge guide. And remember, I'm going to lose my patchwork a little bit, but I'm not worried about losing my patchwork because I'm making this for my pet. I'm going to use the seams that have been created in the block to kind of ensure that I'm staying somewhat square. Of course, I could have moved my edge guide over. And use the edge of my foot also in combination. But this is another cool trick I wanted to teach you all today. By using my seams on top of each other, keeping themselves square, I'm ensuring that that fabric isn't doing this much. So now this becomes our top edge. Our edge we will leave open. So a lot of times, maybe you want to build this first and then just start throwing your scraps inside so that you don't have to do what we have to do next, which is sort through our scraps. You could pre-cut them down, maybe a smarter choice. At any rate, I only need to do that to one side, folks. I've just basically pre-hemmed or pre-folded that over. And then on this project here, if I had a selvage or whatever, that would be the side I would use, right? I would take my selvage edge and just fold that over. Now I've trimmed all of my selvages off of this 24-inch square. So just the same, I'm just going to fold it over also. And now, like I said, it would be easiest to move the edge guide and the foot so I can use those in combination where I'm looking at this outer edge and I'm lined up here, and we'll start this sewing. Just controlling the gap, the seam, the hem, whatever you want to call this, a few inches prior. I'm looking further down the road here. And this is just to make our life easy, especially if we were pre-building our pillowcase so that we would fill it within all of our scraps that we were making with our daily sewing and quilting. All right, same thing, okay? Now, we're gonna do the easiest sewing. We're just gonna do our right sides together. You might find that using a few of your clips helps you, because we're just going to go all the way around and we don't want things to be shifting, right? So I am going to keep my solid piece down, but I'm going to put a clip in the corner, halfway, and then the corner again, working my way around, halfway, lining up them corners. Can you hear a little Texas in there for you? Them fixing to put last one there halfway up. Now notice the trick, folks. I'm not going to put any clips across here. That means I'm not sewing on that side, so I don't get carried away, because I don't notice the seam allowance, like I haven't had enough coffee. And I say we're not sewing there. We are sewing there just a teeny bit. We're going to sew a few inches, making our life easier later. So when we fold this, right sides back out. So let's say when I say a few inches over, let's come right here, middle of that. That should give us about a 6-inch to the corner. And I do want to come back down to my 1/4 inch seam allowance. I don't want to take up too much of my pillow I'm making. Lines up nicely. And let's do a lot of back stitching here. Couple rounds worth, because this could take a lot of abuse over the months of adding to our pillowcase. Okay, so I'm going to sew within my 1/4 inch. I'm going to pivot and pull off my first clamp, keeping that thread all intact. And now I'm just going to start sewing, always making sure I can tell where my lower fabric is. removing my clamps, clips, pins, a few inches before I stitch into them. And again, as we start to finish, we're now up on that pre-hemmed, pre-folded edge. And I'm just gonna come over another 6 or 8 inches across, leaving myself a decent opening in case I wanna put some cool metal clamps or clips or something to hang it inside of a trash can or something, keeping it always open, easier to dump my scraps into. So at any rate, once you get to the space you wanna leave, we're just gonna go ahead and backstitch. Again, we're gonna put a little bit of abuse on this seam for a while. Cut your threads, pull it open, pull it out, I should say. And now we're gonna turn it open. Grab a bottom corner, poke your corners out. And now let's go ahead and talk about how to prepare our scraps. If you're doing this as a donation, you may want to check with your local Humane Society and see if they have any regulations on size or what goes inside, whether it needs to be unzippable with a sealed cover or something like that. But for us here working for my pets, like I said, I have a bag of scraps and I don't want them to be too big, and these are all cotton, and a glove for machine quilting. Anyways, second glove for machine quilting, all cotton. That must have fallen in there. Cotton t-shirts from the t-shirt quilt, so all washable fabrics. No fusible webs, no papers, no plastics from threads, right? Now, I want you to be very careful. Hear this, if nothing else this week. This is a great way to cut yourself because you're going to see this pile and you're going to see and want to dive right in. Maybe you even want to get your largest possible rotary cutter, like a 60 millimeter, right? You want your pieces to be somewhat small so they pack down like batting, okay? But we don't want you cutting your hand. So what I'm going to recommend is always using your biggest ruler. I'm putting my cutter into supercut, and I'm just going to go ahead and take and kind of slice down every couple inches worth, right? I want anything that resists. I don't want to work too hard. Okay, and those little pieces are going to be just fine. This is why I was recommending that you actually do this after every work day. Take your scraps and prepare them into the bed knowing what size they're going to be, right? Just cutting all of those down to begin with. I have a little bit of interfacing in there. I'm not too worried about it. It's washable because it's for shirt making. Okay, so again, just cutting down my pieces. Gets a little messy. Don't forget to close that cutter. And then taking my pieces and putting them inside of the pillow to be nice and small. Okay, and we're just going to work on that for a while. It can be very therapeutic, whether you're doing it before or after each sewing session, every few months. But this is a great way to recycle and or practice some of those sewing skills. Don't get so carried away. You have to patch your pillow that you're already making there. Try not to get distracted looking through the scrap bin, thinking, oh, well, what if I did use this for something? Because you could easily do that, but you should have already kind of been thinking about that. Maybe another reason to do this at the end of every day instead of monthly or spring cleaning time. Almost full is the pillow, and definitely out of scraps is the bin. So here we go. I switched over also to the 60 millimeter cutter. I like the Olfa one. It's the one I have. But the bigger the wheel, man, it is really cutting through the stuff nicely. There were some times where I tried to get a little too aggressive. I found that was hazardous. So again, the last things I'll point out is, yeah, it makes a good mess. And also there's a lot of fiber in the air. You might want to mask up if you have breathing sensitivities, because as I'm blasting through this stuff, I can see there's a residue on my watch. I can feel it. So anyway, but I've been cutting away down and we are all but to the end of my strips. Still using the ruler to provide safety and hold everything down. And now like a good old bread scraper at a fancy restaurant, right? Here we go. Now, like I said, pillow is basically to the desired fullness, but I'm also to the desired out of scrapness. And I'm just gonna go ahead and continue to pick all of this up, packing it down to the bottom right now. And then we're just gonna really lay it over on our sewing machine here in a second and seal it up, top stitch style. Real easy. And I'll probably take a shop vac to the room here in a little bit, finish everything off. Now remember, our seams here have been pre-stitched, pre-hemmed, but I also did them right sides together. So that's gonna wanna fold inside, right? So we're gonna be able to now just top stitch. And whenever I top stitch anything, I'm gonna basically give it the whole run on this side, making it look like it was intentional. And therefore I'm gonna lay my needle kind of right along the edge of that back stitch so it stays. I want to be in a needle down position so that whenever I stop. And now it's going to be a little bit of a fight, a little bit of a tug of war. Keep this much of the material, all of this weight secured on the table so it doesn't fall. And then I'm just going to pinch and close a few inches down. You might want to use those same clamps for this that we used earlier. Again, this is all good practice. Now you're making a pet bed, so let's not get carried away with our desire for accuracy. Moving the weight with me as I go. It is really helpful to have done that pre-stitching. Now, I'm not going to take the time to top stitch all around the pillow, but you certainly could. If that was the look you were really desiring, you probably should have top stitched it before you filled it. Like I said, this is a great practice project. So you could have been machine quilting this top surface, right? You could have installed a zipper. You could have put a handle for whatever reason on it. But this is a nice, dense, super heavy pet bed, right? I know my cat will love it, and I'm sure my dog will too, but he already has a couple that he enjoys, especially in the sunshine. So anyways, folks, thank you for joining me for a super fun and simple sewing project. But don't forget that doing is part of what we're here for, right? So it doesn't necessarily matter what we're working on as long as we're working on something together in this awesome community here at Stitchin Heaven. So thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for subscribing if you have not already. Make sure you like the video, share the video, all those kinds of things, and we will see you very soon with another tutorial. Like I said, please join me on Friday for the Scrap Masters weekly. It's a super fun random scrap block generator, and it's all free, it's all fun, it's all fabulous, and we'll see you there. Thank you, folks. We'll see you next time. Stay well. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. It really helps support our channel. If you haven't subscribed, do so now. Hit the little button to be notified every time we go live or do a new video for all of you. And here's one from the past I think you'll really enjoy.